we're going to be talking about the 3 foods that kill your gut.
Welcome to the Restorative Longevity Podcast, where we share how to increase your quality of life while also increasing your longevity. Now let's welcome our host, Jimmy Yen, also known as the Sensei. Jimmy is a licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, nutritionist, and restorative longevity expert dedicated to guiding you on your journey to vibrant health and lasting wellness.
One of them actually is not a food, but the other 2 are foods, so I just figured I'd just use the 3 foods. So the 3 foods that kill your gut. In a previous podcast episode, I talked about the things that we should be eating. Well, today I'm going to talk about things that we should not be taking, or we should avoid or decrease, because they are literally killing your gut. And so the point of the podcast, in alignment with how I do this podcast, is what's the point? You don't have to wait till the end of the podcast to know what's the point. And so I'm going to give it to you right now. The 3 main things: a certain type of medication, commercially raised meats, and processed foods. Those are the 3 things we're going to talk about today that are killing your gut. And literally, I am not a physician, so I'm not telling you to stop your medications. That's not what I'm here to tell you. I'm just here to provide you information so that you can be more educated and you can have that discussion with your physician to discuss, should you be taking certain medications long-term, short-term, or should you be even taking them at all? That's between you and your physician. Do not come and say, oh, hey, Jimmy, you told me I don't have to take them. No, I didn't. So disclaimer, I'm not telling you to stop taking your medication, because legally I cannot tell you what to do with your medication, okay? So let's come back to the 3 things. What we eat is super important on how do we replenish. I used in the previous podcast, I talked about the things that you can do to increase your microbiome, which can help your gut health, which that indirectly helps your mental health, your brain health. Okay, so first thing we need to what we need to add is just what we need to avoid. It's just as equally important as what we should be eating, right? Any foods or agents that disrupt the gut's health by increasing the permeability or by causing inflammation can destroy your microbiome, your bacteria, we talked about the good bacteria, bad bacteria. So anything that increases permeability. Permeability means, here's your intestines. Things that go into your intestines should stay in your intestines. It's kind of like here in the US, we have this saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So what happens in your intestines should stay in your intestines. And most of the part, right? There are nutrients that come out, obviously. But most of the bad stuff, like in Vegas, lots of sin. That's why it's called Sin City. Lots of sin in Las Vegas. All that sin, all that terrible stuff, that waste, that should stay in your intestines, right? So what permeability means is when the stuff that's supposed to be in your intestines, that's supposed to stay in your intestines, it actually seeps out. It seeps out and it gets into your bloodstream. So just imagine this, and this is going to be a nasty example. I apologize if y'all are eating breakfast right now. So what's in your intestines, like your large intestine? There's poop, right? Poop is forming in your large intestine. So imagine, when you go to the restroom, you poop and you can see it in your toilet, your stool in your toilet, right? So imagine that stool is not just going through your intestines, but now it's going into your blood. Imagine that, right? Nasty, I know. Okay, so that's what permeability means. So permeability is when the toxins, the waste that's supposed to stay in your intestines, they seep out. That causes autoimmune problems. It causes an immune reaction, right? So anything, foods, stuff that you put in your mouth that increases that permeability is going to destroy your gut health. It's going to destroy your immune system. It's going to destroy your health overall. Like I've mentioned multiple times, another term, increased permeability in your intestines. Another term is leaky gut. So if you've heard of the term leaky gut, many functional medicine practitioners are talking about leaky gut. What they mean is increased permeability. And that is the root cause of your autoimmune disease. So if you have an autoimmune disease, autoimmune means your own immune system is attacking itself. That's because of leaky gut or increased permeability. But leaky gut is not the cause. What caused, see, most people just stop there. If you go to the practitioners, even holistic, natural practitioners, functional medicine doctors, they all are fixated on the leaky gut, but the leaky gut is not the cause. So if you really want to fix your problem, you got to fix the cause. What is the cause? The cause is what caused the leaky gut. The leaky gut is only a manifestation. It's only a symptom, a dysfunction caused by something else. If you don't fix that cause, you will forever have leaky gut. Many practitioners will say, oh, there's these, I call them zip ties. There's these zip ties, right? These proteins called zonulin, and they zip tie the gut so it prevents leaky gut. So many holistic practitioners, functional medicine practitioners, they will give you supplements to boost the production of that protein, zonulin. That doesn't fix your autoimmune. That doesn't fix leaky gut. It's no different from a Band-Aid, like medications patching up things. Okay, supplements these days are also used like Band-Aids. So you got to be careful, right? So preventing the increasing zonulin to keep the intestinal wall, closed together, that's a good thing, but that doesn't fix your problem because you didn't fix the root cause, right? So and that's what this restorative longevity is, to help you fix your root cause. Fixing the root cause, you don't need any other person to help you do that. If you get the right information and you execute that right information, you will be able to fix your leaky gut by yourself. Okay? So anything that causes increased permeability or inflammation. Inflammation is another cause of why you will have leaky gut. Inflammation causes leaky gut. But is inflammation the root cause? No. So I'm going back, okay? You have autoimmune disease, and it's caused by leaky gut. Leaky gut causes autoimmune disease, okay? Now I'm giving you this. Inflammation causes leaky gut. Okay, so see, we're going backwards. I call this method doing the math backwards, right? Which is re-engineering, or what is that? That's another term I'm thinking about. But basically going backwards, right, to trace what is the real root cause. It's like being a detective. Who was the cause? Who committed the murder, right? And so we have autoimmune disease or any gut health, any ADD, any anxiety. All symptoms are caused by leaky gut. One of the causes, leaky gut is not the only cause. Leaky gut, increased permeability. What causes leaky gut? So what causes leaky gut? Inflammation, okay? Now, you could just take supplements and decrease inflammation. Will it fix everything? No. It will make you feel better, but it won't fix everything. It will still come up, and you'll realize that you constantly have to take stuff, maybe take medication, take pills to decrease inflammation, because that's not the root cause. You have to come over here. What caused the inflammation to begin with? That may be the root cause, right? So those are the things you got to pay attention to. So today is about what are the 3 things that cause inflammation and cause increased permeability, which destroys your gut and destroys your immune system. First thing, antibiotics. Antibiotics. What does antibiotics do? Everybody knows it kills bacteria. Okay? And so if you want to protect your microbiome, you don't want to take as much antibiotics as possible. And so I don't know when they stopped, when physicians stopped doing this. But if you're older than 40 years old, then you probably remember back in the day. I'm almost 50, so I'm talking about myself. Back in the day, physicians, when you got a virus infection, you got a common cold, like you just a low-grade fever, those are virus infections, right? You go to your physician, your PCP, your family doctor, and what do? They give you antibiotics. antibiotics do nothing for viruses. This is back in the day, they didn't know or they didn't care, right? But then it's not just all physicians' problem. We as patients, it's our problem too. It's our fault too. We were like, doctor, just give me something. I feel terrible. Just give me something. So back then there was zero antiviral. There is no viral medications that are effective because viruses mutate very quickly. So if a pharmaceutical company creates a virus and antiviral infection medication, it becomes useless almost in a year because the virus mutates. Viruses are tricky suckers, right? So back then, if you remember, if you're as old as I am, if you remember, physicians, they would give us antibiotics for almost everything. You feel bad? Oh, it must be a bacteria. Just give it. So what does those antibiotics do? They usually give you what's called a broad spectrum antibiotic. So a broad spectrum antibiotic, if I compare it to like guns, is like a bazooka, it's like a shotgun. A shotgun shoots out pellets. It's not really precise in its aim. So a shotgun will destroy the target and everything around it, right? Versus a sniper, it's just one bullet. It will hit one target. So a broad spectrum anything means it's doing a shotgun approach. So what does that actually mean? That means whoever gave it to you doesn't really know what's going on. That's what it means, right? Let's just kill everything. That's what it is. That's what chemotherapy, like we treat, we help cancer patients go through chemotherapy. We treat chemotherapy-induced neuropathy, right? That's what chemotherapy is. Chemotherapy is not targeted specifically to that specific cancer cell. Just ask anybody who's gone through chemotherapy. They are literally getting killed, even their healthy cells. That's a shotgun approach. Why is it a shotgun approach? Because they don't know what to do. But they're not going to admit it. I mean, it's just liability, right? But I'm not telling you doctors are bad or not. This is just the way that Western medicine, currently the technology that's available. So overuse of antibiotics kills everything. It kills your good microbes and your bad microbes. So in the previous podcast, I talked about you need a good balance of good bacteria and bad bacteria. If good bacteria so you take an antibiotic, right? So let's say your normal balance of bad bacteria and good bacteria. You take antibiotics, right? It kills everything. Like even your good bacteria is gone. So you no longer have that good balance. No wonder it destroys your immune system, right? So this was some data. Up until World War II, medical conditions like pneumonia, wound infections could often prove fatal, and antibiotics were a major success. So pneumonia is a bacteria infection. So when you have a bacteria infection, antibiotics are a lifesaver. That's one of the best inventions in Western medicine. They will save your life, right? However, because it was such a lifesaver, they started giving it to everybody, even though if they didn't have a bacteria infection. And so it started up until World War II. So the wars, created all this mess. I mean, added to all this mess as well. And so now it's overprescribed. Now it's leading to a pandemic. So you overprescribe. So not only does it kill our immune system, it started creating other health problems. By the medical institution, so remember, the drug companies control the medical institution. So it's not the doctor's fault. It's the pharmaceutical, Big Pharma's fault. Big Pharma controls the medical association everywhere in the world. So they have these doctors prescribe antibiotics for everything. That created another problem, right? It created a pandemic of antibiotic resistant diseases. So now the simple thing, penicillin was the very first antibiotic. It was so effective. But now these days, penicillin doesn't work. Why? Because it was overprescribed, like amoxicillin, another version. It's overprescribed. And so bacteria start becoming resistant. These bad bacteria become resistant. So these, very effective antibiotics no longer work. And so guess what? I don't know if the big pharma did this on purpose. They created another problem. So now, guess what? They can go back into the lab and create another super antibiotic to kill this antibiotic resistant disease. So they're just making more and more money. That's what's happening, right? And then don't get me on that. So now we have people all around us. We have antibiotic resistant bacteria in our bodies now. So if you have been taking a lot of antibiotics over your life, whether you were given it to you, but you took it, you know, it doesn't matter that the doctor gave it to you, you still took it. Now you have antibiotic resistant diseases. Some of your autoimmune problems were because of that, because you took too much antibiotics when you were a kid. Okay. Now, you know, another thing, many Americans take antibiotics as a quick fix measure or a just in case. So we can't blame physicians. We ask for them. We have to hold ourselves accountable as well. Yes, the problem is the root cause is big pharma. That's the root cause. But we added to the problem because we go to our doctors and we ask for, hey, I feel terrible. Can I just get antibiotics? Oh, I think I'm coming down with something. Can I just get an antibiotic for prevention? You don't take antibiotics for prevention. That's why you have antibiotic resistant diseases. Okay, and this is very common, like in the flu season. We're still in flu season. We're almost over it. But in flu season here in the U.S., everybody go to their doctor and say, hey, I want an antibiotic. Because you got a fever and you think it's a bacteria, or you want to feel better faster, instead of looking at what gave you the flu in the first place, right? I have never gotten a flu vaccine, and maybe I can't even remember if I've ever. I know the only flu that I really got. Some of y'all are going to disagree with this. Is COVID. That's the only one that I got. But other than that, I can't remember the last time I've ever gotten a flu. And I've never had the flu vaccine. Okay? But I'm not telling you, hey, I'm not giving you dispense medical advice. You can do what you want. You need to talk to your physician about whether you need to get the flu vaccine or not. Here's the difference about other countries. European doctors recommend eating yogurt, which is a probiotic supplement. I talked about this before or with antibiotics to protect your GI tract. And so with our patients, if you're a patient in our clinic, this is what we do. This is the advice that we give our patients. Again, this is another benefit of attending these and watching this Restorative Longevity podcast. I'm providing you information that people pay thousands of dollars to get, and I'm providing it for free in our podcast. So if you're not subscribed to our channel, you want to hit the subscribe button. And if you have not watched our previous podcasts, I would get a notebook and just take notes, go through every single one, because all the information that I'm giving you, it is not theory. It is information that we give our patients who pay us thousands of dollars to get better, right? And so you're getting it for free. So I would highly take advantage. Get your friends and family to subscribe too. Okay, so this is what we tell our patients when they're taking antibiotics, to take probiotics. So when they're taking antibiotics, to take double the amount of probiotics at the same time. The best would be before you take the antibiotics, take some probiotics. When you're taking antibiotics, double it up. If you're taking 1 capsule a day, take 2 capsules a day. And then after you're done with the antibiotics, still double up for a month. You want to replenish your probiotics, your microbiome. Okay, so that's a secret I just revealed for the people that are watching. You just got that secret. All right, next. After medicine. So besides medicine, what else destroys our gut? What do we do every day? We eat. So food is super important. So I'm going to go over the 2 main categories of food that are destroying your gut, destroying your immune system, destroying your health. Commercially raised meats are at the top of the list. Commercially raised meats. Why? Because these meats can be a major source of deadly superbugs, right? Why is that? These commercially raised meats, commercially raised cows, pigs, goats, chicken, they are fed antibiotics. Like I just told you, if we take antibiotics, it already destroys us. These animals, the same thing. Their gut is important too, but because of the big food industry, right? The big food industry, they give pharmaceuticals to the animals because they want them to live, because they make money by the more animals they sell, right? So animals raised in confined areas, feeding operations, this is called CAFOs, confined animal feeding operations, CAFO, confined animal feeding operations. This is the modern day practice, factory farming. It's called factory farming. And they are routinely given low dose of antibiotics. Again, why? For prevention. They don't want their animals to get diseases, so they give them antibiotics, even if they don't have an infection. And I just said, if you take antibiotics as a human, it destroys your health. What do you think it does to an animal? Okay, so these animals are getting the antibiotic resistant bacteria in their body, and guess what? We eat them, we're getting it too. So you may not even be taking antibiotics. Let's say you're like, man, Jimmy, I'd never take antibiotics. Okay, but are you eating these commercially raised meats? If you are, then you're indirectly getting it. You're getting those antibiotics. You don't even know that, right? So, of all the here's a startling fact. Of all the antibiotics sold in the U.S., guess who consumes them? 70 to 80% of the antibiotics, pay attention, 70 to 80% of the antibiotics sold in the US are used to treat livestock instead of people. 70, 80%. Crazy, right? So you are getting it. If you are not getting organic meat, you are getting antibiotics. Period. You may think you're not, but you are. Unless you have a third party verify that those animals were not given antibiotics, you're done. You're eating the antibiotics. Okay? Because the problem is when we eat those meat, we get those antibiotics. And here's another startling fact. You could say, hey, me and my family, we don't do antibiotics. But the primary source of antibiotic overload for people is through the meats they eat. So you got to be careful about what you eat, right? 50% of the meat sold in the American grocery stores have here's another startling fact. 50% of the meats in American grocery stores, okay, they have drug-resistant bacteria. 50%. So, okay, and here's another recent FDA study, the FDA study, right? Antibiotic resistant strains of Salmonella and I'm butchering this name, Campylobacterium was found. So antibiotic resistant bacteria were found in 81% of ground turkey, 69% of pork chops, 55% of ground beef, 39% of chicken meat. The FDA found this. You're getting bacteria if you are not eating organic. So how do you make sure that your meats don't have bacteria, antibiotics, antibiotic resistant bacteria? You got to go organic, grass-fed, free-range, pasture-raised meats, dairy, eggs, all animal products. Okay, because the organic, make sure they're organic. Organic standards, so it's a third-party verification, do not allow non-medical use of antibiotics. It's crazy. You're getting antibiotics and you don't even know that. Okay, so that's just from the animals that are raised. So how do we change that? Well, you as a consumer, you change it. If we start getting and requesting grocery stores to only carry organic meats, then guess what those farmers are going to do? Those ranchers are going to do? They're only going to raise organic meat. They're going to stop raising the animals in these horrible conditions. You with your dollar determine what the grocery store will carry. So stop buying those other things, those other conventional meats. Now you may say, man, Jimmy, it's too expensive. My wife, when we first got married, we did something, not because of, it was one was because of health, but because of, we didn't have money. So when we started off, we didn't have money. And we didn't have money, we didn't have cable TV, we only had one cell phone. We didn't have all the luxuries of life. All we did was work, eat, sleep, and that was it. And so at that time, we had to watch how we spend our money for food, right? And this is what we did. We were able to cut our food in our grocery bill by 50%. And I'm about to share with you how we did that. It's going to be counterintuitive. You would think that here in the US, we would go to fast food, we would go processed foods to cut down our grocery bills. No, we didn't do that. We went 100% organic. We did the opposite of what the norm here in the US is. We went 100% organic, and we cut out all the processed, prepared. We didn't go out to eat. We never went out to eat. And we ate 100% organic. That cut our grocery bill by 50%. So when you say that, hey, when patients tell us all the time, oh man, organic's so expensive. Yes, if you compare a organic apple to a conventional apple, if you compare that side by side, yes, it's expensive. That is true. But if you're comparing, when you eat organic food, you eat less of it because it's more nutrition dense. It has more nutrition. You don't need more of it. The processed foods like chips, any type of processed foods, the processed foods inside, they make you want to eat more. That's why you buy more, even though one bag of chips is maybe a few dollars, but because there's chemicals in there that makes you want to eat more. But when you eat organic food, there isn't chemicals in it. It's natural. You are full. And when you're full, you don't want to eat anymore. So it actually makes you healthier. So I am not speaking from theory. I'm speaking from actual experience. That's what I did. My wife and I did when we first got married. We had no money. We were poor. That's the decision we made. We bought 100% organic. We cooked everything. We never went out to eat. And our food bill went down by 50%. Okay, so that's a gold nugget. Hope you implement that. Last category that we're going to talk about today is processed foods. So it's like perfect timing, right? We eliminated processed foods from our diet when we first got married. And I'm a foodie. I love to eat. When you eat out, it's all processed. They start with good ingredients, sometimes organic ingredients, but with all the sauces and all that stuff, it's gone out the door. You cannot eat healthy when you eat out. I don't care how any restaurant tells you, you cannot eat healthy when you eat out. So, processed foods. Why is processed foods terrible for destroying your gut? Because it contains unhealthy sugars, high fructose corn syrup, refined white sugar, and they contain something called emulsifiers, which are detrimental to your microbiome. Emulsifiers are food additives that are used to improve the texture, appearance, and more importantly, the shelf life of many foods. When you buy food and it can last for a month, there's got to be something wrong with that, right? You put a apple, a carrot, you leave it outside. You don't refrigerate it, leave it outside. How long will that last? Maybe 1 or 2 days, and it starts to rot. It starts to oxidize, right? That's how food should be. What if now you go buy a processed food that can last for months, not even months, years. Whoa, is that even food anymore? Right? Think about that. So emulsifiers help extend that shelf life. And where are emulsifiers located? In almost every processed food has emulsifiers. Ice creams, baked goods, salad dressings, creamers, dairy, even almond milk has emulsifiers. What does emulsifiers do, and how does it damage your gut, your health, your immune system? It increases permeability. Remember what I just said earlier in this podcast. If anything that you put in your mouth increases gut permeability or causes inflammation in your gut, it is destroying your gut health, it's destroying your immune system, destroying your health. Emulsifiers increase permeability in the gut lining. It causes an influx of bad bacteria into your bloodstream. So again, if you want more poop in your blood, eat more processed food, okay? And this causes colitis, IBS, intestinal inflammation, metabolic diseases, obesity, high blood sugar, insulin resistance. Obesity is caused by what you eat. It's not genetics, it's what you eat, okay? Here are some food additives that you want to watch out for. Lecithin, polysorbates, polyglycerols, carboxymethylcellulose, carrageenans. I'm butchering the name, I know. Xanthan gum, guar gum, propylene, sodium citrate, monoglycerides, diglycerides. You see how I can't even, I'm a biochemist, and I haven't been doing that, the biochemistry part in my life for a while, the lab tests and the experiments, but it's even hard for me to pronounce these words, and I was trained a biochemist. So it is true, if you can't pronounce the word on a label, it's a chemical and it's not good for you, okay? Now here's the thing I want to address. Xanthan gum and guar gum, they're used in almost every single supplement. They are used in almost every single supplement and in medications. So this forced me to look at, hey, what supplements should we be prescribing to our patients, right? Because most of the, like even the protein shakes, are you doing a protein shake or any type of shake? You know, you put some powder and you drink some water and mix them with some water. Majority of them have these emulsifiers. Now, I want to address, and this is for our patients as well. If you're a patient of our clinic, I want to address this through this podcast. Guar gum and xanthan gum are naturally occurring. They can be synthetically made. So they can be made in the laboratory, they can be made chemically, but they actually, especially guar gum, occurs naturally in nature. So the guar gum is a natural emulsifier. It occurs in nature, but you have to see if your supplement company is getting it from synthetically made, or is it coming from extracting it? Is it an extract of guar gum? Okay. So guar gum is a natural water-soluble polysaccharide extracted from the seeds of the guar plant. So it actually comes from a plant, right? It's a leguminous shrub native to India and Pakistan. So it is naturally occurring. So it's okay. It's not okay, but if it's synthetically made, if it's an extract from this guar plant, then guar gum is a good emulsifier. Xanthan gum, it's kind of iffy. It's a polysaccharide produced by the bacteria Xanthomonas campestris. Again, I'm butchering the name, okay? And it's created through fermentation of sugars. Okay, it's a polysaccharide produced by bacteria through fermentation of sugars, typically through glucose from corn or soil. Now, depending on, there's many different sources. If it's made from genetically modified corn and genetically modified soy, then it is xanthan gum is terrible for you. So you want to make sure you know your supplement company where are they getting the xanthan gum from? Is it from fermentation of natural sugars, or is it fermentation from genetically modified sugars, right? It's hard to know these things. So if you can avoid xanthan gum as much as possible in your supplements, in your processed foods or whatever, right? Try to avoid it as much as possible. Some of our supplements, actually most of our supplements that we prescribe our patients have guar gum in it, right? And it's from the natural source, from the plant, an extract. So these are the things you want to pay attention to, okay? Kathy has a question. How do you know if it's organic? We are not there. Anybody could put a sticker on something, charge more for it. Absolutely, you are correct, Kathy. So this, we do have to trust. There is a trust factor, right? There's two ways I can tell you. One is trust. You have to trust. And I know in these days, actually, especially in the US, since COVID hit, post-COVID, things have just been erratic, crazy. Can't trust the government. But you're gonna have to trust the organic certification. That's one thing. Here's another thing you can do. Local farmers market. Your local farmers. Go to your local farmers. You can actually go see what they do. That's the next best thing. Most people don't want to do that because they don't want to spend the time. I'm lazy too, right? We don't want to spend the time to go and look at the farmers and see how they actually, treat their crops, how they treat their animals, right? But that's the next best thing. And if a farm does not allow you to do that, that's a red flag. Don't eat anything that they produce, okay? So those are the things. So brief overview, be careful, talk to your physicians about your antibiotic use, taking antibiotics. But one thing you can control, stop eating animals that are not organic. Stop eating animal products, any animal products that are not organic, okay? Again, you use your dollar to change what they produce. You use your money, so use your money wisely. And again, as a reminder, organic does not cost more. It does not increase your food bill. What increases your food bill is the processed foods. So stay away from commercially raised meats and processed foods. Processed foods have chemicals in there intentionally to make you want to eat more. I've eaten those before. I don't know if you had the experience. Chocolate chip cookies, right? You can never just eat one because there's chemicals in there that change your brain to say you need more, you need more. Even after you've had 10, you still want more. I know, I've been there, okay? So hopefully this was helpful, guys. These things directly destroy your gut. And this is one thing, if you are having any type of chronic degenerative disease, especially autoimmune disease, you need to stay away from these. These could be your root cause, right? These could be cause of the intestinal inflammation. These could be the cause of your leaky gut. Now, is it going, just when you stop these, is everything magically going to be healed? No, it's not, because you damaged it. How many years have you been damaging it? That's how many years it's going to take to repair, right? But if you don't start now, you're just damaging your body even more and more and more and more and more. Maybe you're doing something good, but then you're doing something bad. You're canceling out. So you're not even really helping your body. Again, these are the things, I'm not talking theory here. These are the things that we help our patients. We guide our patients step by step in our clinic at Achieve Integrative Health. And I'm giving it to you for free. So hopefully you enjoyed it. All right, guys, thank you for attending. I do have one announcement. I am off to Taiwan tomorrow. So I won't be able to do the podcast on this specific at the same time, but it will still be Sundays. I will still be doing the podcast on Sundays, but the time is going to change. It's going to be 5 p.m. Sunday. So I'm going to see you next Sunday, which is the 30th, March the 30th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, okay?
This episode is sponsored by Achieve Integrative Health, the #1 acupuncture clinic in the US. We're grateful for their support in helping us bring you the Restorative Longevity podcast.